Before I start this review, I just need to make one thing clear. I'm not the best writer in the world, so I'm going to read from someone who I think is the best writer in the world. Real emo only consists of the DC emotional hardcore scene and the late 90s screamo scene. What is known by Midwest emo is nothing but alternative rock with questionable real emo influence. When people try to argue that bands like My Chemical Romance are not real emo, while saying that Sunny Day Real Estate is, I cannot help but cringe because they are just as fake emo as My Chemical Romance, plus the pretentiousness. Real emo sounds energetic, powerful, and somewhat hateful. Fake emo is weak, self-pity, and failed attempts at direct energy and emotion into music. Some examples of real emo are Page 99, Rites of Spring, and Captain Jazz, the only real emo band from the Midwest scene. Some examples of fake emo are American Football, My Chemical Romance, and Mineral. Emo belongs to hardcore, not indie, pop punk, alt-rock, or any other mainstream genre.
These arguments about what makes something real emo, they never resolve, do they? No Scrams fan has actually been able to convince a Midwest fan that their emo is fake in any way. These arguments are just more about yelling and screaming, so that way we can pass the time, so we can be distracted from real life for a while. But what I feel like gets lost in these grand discussions / trash fires is the loss of talking about what makes emo so special to these people. When people are arguing over what real emo is, it seems to disintegrate any stories about what made people like that come to that music in the first place. For how defensive Scrams kids get over their music, I've never seen any of them really go real deep into why they love I Wrote Haikus About Cannibalism in Your Yearbook. One of the main reasons I even made this video is that I grew up surrounded by these kind of elitists, and we would have long discussions about why Sunny Day Real Estate sucks and isn't real emo, but we never really talked about why the real emo was so special and important to them in the first place. I mean, it's assumed that anyone that likes emo music has some kind of deep, dark past with it and a good personal reason for liking it, but at least outside of Tumblr, I've never really seen anything go beyond yo, that's sick or yo, that's good. It never goes further than that, so I'm looking to change that. I'm going to be the emotional sad sack that I always am with music and gush about what I love. And I hope that more people follow suit. I know I will. Just get ready for the Brave Little Abacus video that'll be like 2 hours long or something. Everyone Asked About You's self-titled EP is one of my favorite pieces of Midwest emo ever. It's one of my favorite pieces of music ever. It takes all of that emotional angst and, the feelings of the traditional emo sound and turns its twee all the way up. Never have I heard a record that sounds so sweet. To me, no piece of pop music, nightcore, nothing will sound as sweet and cute as this. I think a big part of that has to do with the vocals. Most of this album is sung by Hannah Vaughan, with Christopher Shepard occasionally singing as well. Vaughan has one of the sweetest voices I have ever heard. Her voice is what makes this album so exceptional to me. Her delivery really just carries this passionate and genuine delivery, and if it wasn't there, this entire album is at risk of falling apart. These lyrics are stupid on their own. They're genuine, but incredibly cheesy. Left alone, these lyrics have the energy of a love letter that you find out in the middle of the street. Perhaps it slipped out of some lucky fool's pocket, but if you have no emotional context for who wrote the love letter, then you're not really going to feel a connection to it. But thankfully, Vaughan is able to capture all of those feelings of love in her voice, and holy shit does it make this album work. Every line feels like a heartfelt confession with months of anticipation behind it. It's the only piece of music that puts butterflies in my stomach. It reminds me of crushing on that cute boy in high school, but not having a clue of how to talk to them. Most of the lyrical content on this album is centered around that awkward crushing stage of love and the release of those feelings. But this album is a lot more than just lyrics. The music is also great. The album has a lo-fi vibe to it, but nothing overly abrasive. It's definitely not the noisiest emo I've ever heard. The lo-fi nature of this album leans more into a side of nostalgia, with the sounds of crackling vinyl and less than stellar quality recording makes it so that it sounds more genuine, real. The first song, Paper Airplane, Paper Hearts, is all about the start of this love, realizing that you have those feelings for someone in the first place. It has this crescendo that has so much tension, it almost makes me cry. feel that ache, those feelings bubbling up. Oh, it just does everything for me. It's one of my favorite pieces of music matching the lyrics that I've ever heard. And the entire song is just based around building up this feeling of aching and love inside your heart and bones. By the end, these emotions boil over. At the start, we whisper it, but by the end, we're screaming, "There's an ache in my heart, I can feel it!
There's an ache in my bones, I can feel it. There's an ache in my heart, I can feel it. There's an ache in my bones, I can feel it. There's an ache in my heart, I can feel it breaking through.
The second song, Me Versus You, is all about now dealing with these feelings, the inability to get rid of someone from your head. The riff on this track is really interesting. There's no open F tapping or anything like that, but we have feedback being central to this riff. It's odd, but it works really, really well, especially when contrasting with these harmonics that they play during the middle. Oh, and these lyrics are wonderful. Never have I heard lyrics so blunt and direct, yet so absolutely genuine and beautiful. It just gives me shivers, man. It's gorgeous. All of the elements coming together, the beautiful emotional delivery of the vocals, this incredibly interesting guitar riff, plus this rhythm section that's just so tight, it just makes this song one of the best I've ever heard. The third song, It's Days Like This That Make Me Wish the Summer Lasted Forever, which is prime emo title right there, is all about spending time with someone and having that magical moment of your relationship start to bloom. You're just so excited and in love that you find it difficult to speak, and the ending of the song shows this. It's literally just repeating summer and I love you over and over and over. It should be the dumbest thing ever, but again, that delivery and the music around it, it makes it work so well. The ending of this song is done over this halftime groove, and it's like that magical moment in the middle of spending time with someone where the world freezes and you notice just how truly beautiful and in love you are with them. The first half of this song has this synth melody too that's really poppy, but still really, really works. Everyone Asked About You is more poppy than most emo bands, but I don't mean that as an insult. When I say pop, I mean that these songs are just fun and good to listen to. It's a layback album that you can just enjoy while going on a walk or something like that, which, isn't typical emo, but I still really enjoy it. The final song on the EP, Everyone Asked About You, is the sad conclusion for this record. They don't show up. They haven't been talking to you, and you feel a pain you haven't felt before. I love the focus on the repeated phrase, everyone asked about you. More likely than not, it was just you asking others where they were, but it feels like the world is asking because they are your world. And yeah, that's cheesy. Well, shut up. Can a person be moved by music? No piece of music has ever made me have butterflies in my stomach. No piece of music has ever been able to capture that dumb, fluffy crush love before. It's a major accomplishment. And the ending, it just catches that young love perfectly. By capturing that feeling of young love, Everyone Asked About You's self-titled EP ends up becoming one of the most emotionally powerful pieces of music I've ever heard. There's no Bandcamp this time for this record, so I'm just going to link to the YouTube page for it. I don't know where to buy this, sadly, maybe Discogs, but seek it out, listen to it. It's beautiful. Support me on Patreon if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button, like it, you know, all that stuff. Anyways, love you. Bye.